Thank you all for being here. Let's come, if you have a bit of wall, we're going to sit at the wall. Some of you may not have wall to lean against, and that's okay. You'll just sit in a comfortable seated position. People who do have some wall available, if you also have a yoga block, that could be one extra element here. So I'm giving myself a little bit of room between me and the wall so that this yoga block can go tall and narrow along my upper spine between my back and the wall. And all this does is allow us to have that support of leaning into something, but also maintain a bit of alignment, feeling hips into earth, ribs over pelvis and hips, shoulders over your ribs, neck starting to float away from the earth, and the skull is perched right up on top. So as best we can, whether you're using the wall in a block or not, start to feel for this alignment of skull bones over your sit bones. It may feel good for you to close the eyes. That's an invitation. If that feels good, go for it. We'll start with 3 deep breaths together. Once you're feeling settled, inhale in through your nose for as long as you can. Feel for filling up with air. Hold it at the top. Hold the breath. And then exhaling out slowly, let the breath release. And again, when you're ready, inhaling slowly in through the nose if that's possible, filling up. At the top, hold the breath. We call this a retention of breath. And then really slowly exhaling out empty. Take your time. One more of those. When it's time to inhale, focus on inhaling as slowly as you can. And then at the top of the inhalation, hold that breath inside. And let the breath out slowly. Bhramari breath. Now, if you have glasses, you could take your glasses off. I'm just going to set them off to the side. And one little piece of information before we do our Bhramari this week. Where to put your tongue. There's a specific tongue position that is traditionally taught when we're doing Bhramari breath, that humming, that bee breath. Imagine that I've given everyone a tic tac. So you have a little tic tac here. Take the tic tac on the tip of your tongue and then hold it against the roof of your mouth, right behind your front teeth. Just really gently hold it there. The rest of the tongue just relaxes. See what this feels like without anything else, just breathing in and out through the nose if that's possible while you hold this imaginary tic tac at the tip of your tongue against the top of your mouth, right behind your 2 front teeth. In this position, you might discover, this might happen in your body, it's okay if it doesn't, that those jaw muscles at your jaw joints, the masseters, they're the muscles that we chew with. That might feel in that area that the jaw can kind of lengthen and almost just hang. You might feel other parts of your facial muscles start to rest as well. So, as best you can, play with that. As we do this humming on the exhalation, can you continue to keep the tip of your tongue very lightly held against the roof of your mouth right behind your two front teeth? When we're ready, take a slow inhale in through the nose. Now we're going to make some sound. We're going to buzz with our breath. When you're ready, any note, any tone that comes out, just play with that. The cool thing about Bhramari is that even the quietest Bhramari creates a vibration. So it's not like you have to make the loudest sound you possibly can. It could be fun to try that out if you're in an area in which you can make really loud sound. You could play with increasing your volume, but know that if you have to be a little quieter, a quiet buzzing is also useful. So let's do this 3 more times on our own. Just inhaling when you're ready, get full of air. And then use a humming sound to exhale out. Keeping the tongue holding that imaginary tic-tac. After that 3rd round is complete, so no rush, keep playing with that. And when you feel that finish, just let your breath come back, slowly breathing in and out. We'll add one more piece to this Bhramari breath, is bringing our hands to our face. I'll give everyone 2 options. So one of the traditional hand positions, I believe we did this last week, is to take the middle fingertip and the ring fingertip, and those finger pads are going to gently rest on a closed eye. And then you have your first finger and your pinky finger will be kind of at the forehead, the brow, and the other one near your lip. And your thumb can rest at your earlobe. Sometimes people like to actually take the thumb and gently press that little piece of cartilage at your ear, kind of the part of the ear near the face, in towards the ear canal to kind of close the ear and make this a little more insular. So you do that on each side, right? So right hand, left hand, the middle finger and the ring finger gently closing the eyes, and letting the rest of the fingers fall on the face, and those thumbs can gently rest at the earlobe, or gently using the thumb pressure to kind of press the ears closed. Just take a breath there without the Bhramari and just notice, it's a kind of maybe funny way to hold our hands against the face. See if when you're exhaling out, is there any way that you can bring in a little more ease to your shoulders? It's okay if the elbows kind of point down towards the ground. See if the hands can stay at the face without the shoulders feeling like they're gripping. Now, if that's not working for you for any reason, here's an even simpler thing to do. Just take one hand and take the palm and cup it over your eyes and your eyebrows. And then take the other hand and bring the hand to cup the bump of the back of your skull, kind of where your skull meets your neck. And that might feel soothing and maybe even just a little bit easier than holding your fingers to your face. So I want you to just try them out, choose the one that works for you. And then we'll finish playing with this breath technique called Bhramari just 3 more times. I'll start us together and then we'll just keep going on our own. Finishing the breath inside of you, letting it exhale out. Nice and slow inhaling, filling up. Feeling your hands, feeling that breath fill you, and then buzz. For 2 more rounds, playing with the note, playing with the tone. You can go higher, you can go lower. When you're finished, no hurry, just finishing up in your own time, letting your hands rest down in your lap again. Maybe keeping the eyes closed. All right, we're going to go for 3 more rounds of Bhramari, but here's the magic trick. We're not going to make the buzzing sound. We're going to imagine that we're buzzing. Okay, and just see what happens when we do this. Take a slow inhale, fill up with air. Silently hum as you exhale out. Do that 2 more times. Just imagine that you're humming, silently hum 2 more times. Bring that tongue position back, taking the tic tac, holding it against the roof of the mouth right behind the teeth. When you're finished, just letting your breath come back to some place that feels comfortable. In and out. Those of us that have the block between the shoulder blades against the wall, you can try these shoulder shrugs with the block there and feel it as some feedback. You're kind of aiming the shoulder blade squeeze like you want to squeeze that block nice and gently but firmly. And then everyone else, no need to have a prop. It's just extra if you have it. Might be a good time. I'm feeling pretty comfortable, but I'm just going to check in with my legs. Might be good to just let your legs stretch out, shake them out a little bit, maybe cross them in the opposite way of crossing the legs. See if you need to shuffle anything. We'll just do 2 rounds of shoulder shrugs. Send your sit bones into the earth. Feel what your spine knows about that vertical axis, that length that can happen from your hips to your head along the spine. Take a slow inhale if you're empty. Hold the inhale for just a moment. Let your shoulders start to float up towards your ears. Any amount of lift is fantastic. No need to strain. Start to bring the tops of the shoulder blades back towards the spine, back towards the wall and the block if you're using it. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades into the block or towards the spine, and start to lower, like you're taking that squeeze and you're dragging it down your upper back towards your hips. You run out of space to drag down, and you run out of that exhalation. When you're empty of breath, relax that work. Take another slow inhale. Leave your shoulders neutral. No need to lift them for this round. As you're exhaling, imagine, feel for your middle shoulder blades, gently but firmly squeeze them back towards the spine. If you're using the block, squeeze middle shoulder blades into that block. As you're exhaling, keep the squeeze and gently drag your shoulders down, shoulder blades down towards your hips. And then when you run out of anywhere to go with those shoulder blades, you run out of exhalation, relax. Another slow inhale. Many of you on this call have done these shrugs before. If it's been a while, use your elbows to help you get the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. But if you're pretty used to this move, you can do this without the help of the elbows. But as you exhale, squeeze elbows back or squeeze the bottommost tips of the shoulder blades, just that part. Squeeze back towards the block, squeeze back towards the spine. Even less room to depress down, but you might feel a little bit of moving shoulder blades down the back ribs. Any amount is fantastic. We're gonna let that go. Let your arms just dangle or rest your hands in your lap. That might feel good. Follow this next breath, just feeling around the back area of the heart muscle, your upper back, the back of your shoulders. What do you notice there when you pay attention there? I'm going to go for this just one more time. So these 3-part shoulder shrugs from the forest yoga style. Let's go for one more round of these 3 parts. Letting the arms hang, press butt into the earth. As you inhale, feel your spine nice and tall. Hold the inhalation for part 1. Shoulders come up by your ears a little bit. Then the shoulder blades stay up high there as they move back towards the wall or back towards your block. As you exhale, squeeze the tops of the shoulder blades towards the spine, towards the block, dragging down through the exhalation. You'll notice maybe going too hard is going to be accompanied by a feeling of cramping or jamming. You don't have to go that much effort. Back off a little bit if that's your experience here. Relax the work. Take a slow inhale. Spread your back ribs. Part 2, shoulders stay right where they are, just neutral. Middle shoulder blades, as you exhale, squeeze them back towards the spine, squeezing them into the block. Exhaling and dragging down. Releasing the squeeze at the end of that exhalation. And then we go for one more. Slow inhale. Really long exhalation, squeezing the bottommost tips of the shoulder blades towards the spine. You can use the elbows to assist if that's needed. Drawing them down. And letting that go, letting the hands rest back in the lap. Take a slow feeling breath. Now, those of us that are using the prop and the wall, we can lean away from the wall a little bit, grab that prop, get it off to the side out of your way. And then from here, we're going to lay down on the back. And here's another way we can use the wall if it's available to you. If you don't have a wall, no big deal. You can absolutely enjoy this without one. But we're going to play with some hip openers from supine, laying on your back. And if there's a possibility for you to set up your spot so that the foot end of your mat or your area could be right up against the wall, so that when we lay down, our feet could find the wall and we can imagine that we're pressing into them. I know if some people on live here where pushing through the feet is not helpful for your body today, then you don't need to use the wall. You don't have to worry about that kind of creating this pressure through the feet. So if that's not for you, no worries. You don't have to use the wall. So when you lay down on your back, those of you that using the wall sounds interesting, sounds useful, find a way in which you can, it's almost like you're standing, like your feet are standing on the wall while you lay on your back. I'll just breathe here for a moment. The next time you are inhaling, float the arms up and over so that they're laying on the floor alongside your ears over your head. Now, for some of us, the chest and the shoulder flexibility might not be where we could bring the backs of our arms and hands to the floor. And that's where maybe a folded up blanket or towel or pillow could come in handy. You can absolutely take some time, put an object, put some support up above your head on the floor so that your arms meet something. It might not be the floor, it could be a little bit the layer of prop. All right. So take a slow inhale. Notice if you can really feel the ribs, the diaphragm, and expansion happening when we breathe in. And as you exhale out, those of you that are using the wall, you can feel for adding a little bit of pressure, pressing the feet into the wall. No wall, totally fine. Just reach out through your feet, sending the legs, the knees, the lower legs, the ankles, and the feet away from your hips. Let's see if you can hold that, creating that little bit of activity through the legs as you take another inhalation. And then as you exhale, just a little effort through the arms, just like almost like someone, you have two really lovely friends who are going to help traction you. One of them has a hold of your ankles. The other person has a gentle hold of your wrists. And just you're all communicating like what's just the perfect amount of reach. Limbs moving away from the torso and the pelvis. So again, what I'm trying to convey is like, you don't have to reach like 100% effort. Just feel for this bit of reaching through the limbs. That feels good. One more big breath here. And then take a slow inhale on this next breath. And as you exhale, let the arms start to float up towards the ceiling. Start to pick up the right foot, knee bending, and then grab a hold of the shin or the thigh or the knee with your hands and come into Apanasana, one leg, knee to chest. Really gentle, we're just hugging this leg in. Slow breath down into the pelvis. And as you're exhaling, maybe you can start to sense kind of grounding through the straight leg. So if we're using the assistance of the wall, we can add a little pressure, a foot into the wall. Letting the other half of the pelvis kind of follow along this curling away from the floor as you hug your thigh and your knee in towards your abdomen and your ribs. And what feels better to you? Maybe it's pressing out through the balls of your feet. Talking about the left foot. Maybe it's pressing out through the heel of your left foot. Maybe it's finding a balance between those 3 points, the heel, the baby toe knuckle, and the big toe knuckle, the part that's where your toe connects into the rest of the bones of your foot. From here, if you don't already have a hold of your thigh, like behind the thighs, switch your grip. Also, if you just happen to have another blanket or maybe a yoga strap, you could put that around the bottom of your foot and hold one end in each hand. We'll take a slow inhale. And as you exhale, very slowly, without any goal of like perfectly straightening your knees, start to reach your right heel up towards the ceiling. Just any amount without forcing your knee to go totally straight. Take a slow breath in here. And then like you're a marionette puppet and someone has just let go of the tension through your strings, just release and let that foot fall down towards your butt. So you're gonna let it go, let it fall, heel towards your butt. Nice big inhale. Exhale really slowly. I guess with the strap, might not be the best technique with the strap because you'll have to keep putting it around your foot. But as you exhale your next breath, we're going to start to straighten this knee again. Heel is reaching up towards the ceiling. Nice big inhale. And the next time you exhale again, it's just like we're going to let it go and just let it flop down. Knee bends and foot kind of falls towards the butt. And you can play with that. It doesn't have to be like in sync with your breath. You could just like reach it up and let it fall. Reach it up, let it fall. And we're kind of trying to find this little fascial shake. Like as you let go, as the marionette plops to the floor, you might feel a bit of a bounce. You might notice like kind of like I don't know if you, I'm sure we've all like shook out a sheet or like a kitchen towel. You're at the beach, you got to shake out the sand. It's like letting that lower leg and the whole foot just flop. For one or two more. We'll really gently and slowly let the knee bend again with a bit of control, not letting it just flop. And here's my favorite part is you set the foot to the floor and then slowly start to extend your leg out. It might be really apparent if if you're using the wall, like it's almost as though, well, here, you explore. What do you feel? People, especially if you're using a wall, it might be really apparent that something has changed. And then I like us all just to relax any effort that we're doing, any reaching through the legs. We're just gonna sink into the floor for a moment, become effortless. It might feel awkward or weird. It might feel a little lopsided. And coming back to arms sweeping up, floating up, and then coming up and over so that the hands and the arms are now above the head on the floor above us. Just really long. And again, we can imagine if it was useful to you that we have those two friends, they're doing us just such a solid. Thank you, imaginary friends. They're going to help us lengthen out. One's pulling gently on our legs, the other's pulling gently on our arms, and we're just finding just the right amount of reach that helps us feel spacious, tall. When you're ready, taking a slow inhalation. And then as you're exhaling out, bending the left knee, arms are going to float up towards that knee. Hands will grab a hold of whatever part of the left leg we can grab a hold of easily. And we'll take a few breaths here. Apanasana, knee to chest on the other side. And just playing around on this side. You know, what part of your right foot can you reach through that feels good? Through the heel? Through the balls of the feet? Maybe finding a combination where the tripod of the foot, the big toe ball mound and the pinky toe ball mound and the heel are all evenly creating some pressure out away from the hip. And we'll switch our grip. We'll bring the hands behind the thigh. You could also just kind of like grab a couple fistful of your pants. Slow inhale. And as you're exhaling, really gently, no goal of totally straightening the knee, but that heel is going up towards the ceiling and the knee is extending. Slow inhale there with the leg straight up in the air. And then as you exhale, letting it go like a marionette falling to the floor. Inhale to extend. You can exhale, let it go. Or even the opposite. Maybe you want to exhale to straighten the knee. And inhale to let it go. Or find a rhythm that feels good to you. Doing this about 3 more times or so. One of the things I kind of love to do when I play with this technique is feel the hamstring muscles underneath my fingertips. I kind of press into them a little bit as I'm extending the heel up towards the ceiling, pulling my fingertips into the back of my thigh. Ooh, and then letting the heel fall. And then maybe the next time I reach my heel up towards the ceiling, I bring my fingers a little bit closer to my butt. So sort of walking your finger pressure down the hamstrings from your knee towards your hip. Whew. And when you feel ready with control, not just letting it flop, bending the knee, setting your foot down, extending the leg out long, maybe finding the wall if you're using it, and noticing what that feels like now. Okay, one more time here. Let's let the arms float up and over. So they're up above our heads again on either side of the ears. Nice big stretch. Exhaling out. Let yourself go. Effortless as much as you can here. And we're going to play with just one side at a time, reaching through the limbs. So our friends have let go of our left arm, our left leg. They're just laying on the floor. They just have a hold of the right wrist, the right ankle. Take a slow inhale. Just the right side. As you exhale, find some reach, reaching out and down through the right leg, reaching up and out through the right arm, just enough that that's interesting as you breathe deeply. One more breath, this one-sided stretch. And slowly and gently letting it release, letting that effort go. Now our friends have gently laid down the right arm and the right leg, and they're taking a hold of the left side. Slow breath in. Long, slow breath out as you're exhaling. They're just gently finding just the perfect amount of pull. Sending the left leg away from the hip. Sending the right arm away from the shoulder. Breathe into the left side of your body. Feel into the left side of your body. And when you're ready, gently easing that away. When you feel ready, Bend both knees. Bring your legs and your feet into that butterfly position, Baddha Konasana. Bottoms of the feet touching, knees opening up wide. Let your arms float up and over, taking your hands to your thighs. Find that place where it's almost like it's a shelf for your hands. So we're simply finding the hip crease where the hip and the front of the thigh meet each other. Let your hands find a nice spot in there that you could put your palms down into the thighs and begin a really gentle bit of traction. It's one of my favorite physical adjustments, these assists that we can do in these poses sometimes when it feels appropriate. I love, sometimes it just feels really good to have another person help you gently pull your pelvis away from your lower back and your rib cage. So that's what we're all doing for ourselves here. Just pressing the hands down into the legs. So you're kind of pushing your legs away from the hips, but you're also pressing the pelvis and the legs away from your rib cage. And just like we were doing a moment ago, breathing, experimenting, finding just the right amount of effort, that this feels good, that feels interesting. Give yourself 2 more full breaths, low back traction in Baddha Konasana. I'm going to really gently ease that away. Take the hands outside the legs, wherever you can reach with your fingers or your palms. Just assist the legs to close together again. And then ease your way over, just rolling over onto one side. Really, really gently press yourself up. We'll play with some props here. So we're going to play with a supported side bend today. This is something we did, man, like months and months ago. I don't think that we've played with this pose in this class in a while. Now, the simplest thing that you could do is maybe you have like a pillow from your bed or even a couch cushion or maybe some towels or a stack of a couple blankets, but you're making kind of a rectangular shape. For me, I kind of have this perfect bolster. It's one of those like medium-sized, slightly thin bolsters. And basically that's going to go down on the ground, like horizontal. It's like perpendicular to our hips in a moment here. I guess it would be parallel to my hips. Having a brain fart moment of like how to describe this with geometry to you. Another thing that could be useful if you have like multiple props available is like another pillow or a little bit of blanket that could go between your thighs. And you might like a yoga block or another pillow that will support your head. So I have a block. I'm going to put that up at the top of my mat. And I've got this rectangle in the center of my mat. And then I'm sitting next to it in a mermaid sit, right? I've got my right hip and buttock sitting next to my rectangle, my bolster. And from there, we're just going to inhale, feel breathing really nice and long through our torso, through our spine. And as we exhale, we're laying our right side down onto our prop. And you want it to kind of be, sort of spanning from your waist up your ribs, but my right shoulder is free. My right shoulder is just laying on the ground. And that's why we have the block or the second pillow, the props that could be a pillow for your head. You want to find a way in which we can get the head and the neck feeling really cozy here. So maybe just this, right? Maybe we have one prop, two props, one underneath our rib cage, the other one underneath the side of our head like a pillow. If you have more props available and you just want to keep adding on to this, you can try putting a bit of blanket or another pillow between your thighs and shins. And that can keep kind of the hip distance. How would I describe that? It can help keep space between your hip joints in a way that feels really good. It's feeling really good for my body today. So, this will be our first really classic restorative pose. We're going to hang out here for a few minutes and I'm going to give us some silence. So, I'm still here. I'm holding our space. I'm not going anywhere. There's no technical difficulty, but there's going to be some silence now. I'll give you one more piece if you want to make this a little more of an intense stretch for the left side of your body. The left arm could reach up towards the ceiling and then alongside your ear, and the fingertips can find the floor up above your head. And that might be yet another prop. Do you have another block or a pillow? You could rest your hand on that prop. Bring the floor to your hand. Okay? Supported, side lying, side bend is what we're playing with now. And just whatever variation of this, if you don't want to use the arm, you can let the arm rest on your side or let it rest out in front of your chest. It's giving your body permission now to start to sink into the support of the ground and into the support of these props. And scan and feel your body here now. You might become aware of how the right side of you is just a little bit shortened. The left side of you is a little bit lengthened. Maybe there's something that feels like it's nagging, something's a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe you want to adjust the pillow, or the block underneath your head might need to adjust. You might want to add a prop or remove a prop. I brought something over for me to bring the floor to my left hand while I reach it up and over. Oh, that's so much better. I also don't need my glasses right now. We'll be here for about 1 more minute. So make any adjustments that you need. And then sinking back in, feeling the shape. Just a few more moments. You're starting to feel ready to explore this pose on your other side. Let's take a slow breath in through the nose. Hold it for a moment at the top. Let it out through your mouth. And really gently, maybe starting with that top arm if it was up and over your head. You can kind of roll forward a little bit, find the floor with your hand, your arms gently, gently push the floor away from you, lifting torso and head coming upright. And then whatever way works for you, maybe just turn your body around. I want to stay facing the screen, so I'm moving my whole self and the setup to the other side of things for me. And we're doing this on the left side. So bringing that mermaid sit, knees bent, staggered, and left hip and buttock up against your main prop there in the center, going across your spot. Nice slow inhale, lengthening up. As you exhale, just finding the ground, easing your side over this thing so that it's pressing into your waist and your rib cage, but your left shoulder is free of the prop. It's resting right on the floor. The arm can extend out in front of you, and then you have something underneath the left side of your head. It's kind of a 2-prop situation. Let's say you only have 1 prop. You could tuck that left forearm underneath the side of your head. Just lay on your arm. You can just keep building up from here. If you have something that you could put between the thighs and the knees and the shins, you can bring blanket underneath, between. And then if you have yet another prop that could be maybe 6 or 12 inches out ahead of your head, when you reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and then it's arcing over your ear, that hand could find the prop, bringing the floor to your right hand. Supported side bend, lying on our side. And we'll just settle in and let our bodies sink into gravity, sink into the support of the earth. And scanning and feeling how you might notice that the left side now is a little bit shortened, the right side a little bit lengthened. Noticing any other sensations or feelings while we rest here. What's happening inside for you? Scan and feel your body. Is there something about this pose you want to shift or adjust? Add a prop, remove a prop. Doing that now. And then settling back in just for this last remaining minute here. And when you feel ready to start to ease your way out of the side bend and into Shavasana, first we'll take a slow breath in through the nose, filling up slowly with air. Hold the breath at the top, hold it, and then let it out through your mouth. Now you can roll forward a little bit just to find the ground with your right hand. Help with the left arm. Take your time really slowly pressing yourself up off of those props. Coming into your version of Shavasana. Now, if you have a bit of open wall, maybe Shavasana today is legs up the wall. You could also just shift the thing that was underneath your rib and waist area, shift it down your spot so that you could put your legs up and over and have it be some support underneath your thighs while you rest. Any variation of Shavasana, of this laying down, final relaxation pose. Set that up for yourself now. Bonus points if you make yourself into a burrito with your blankets. taking us on a little journey. It's a brief meditation. You can listen and follow along, or simply let yourself drift off as you rest. Totally up to you. Whatever you need is perfect. Imagine that your body is now a tree, standing regal and tall somewhere in the forest or a glade. And just visualize in your imagination what kind of tree you are. Are you an oak or a birch or maybe a maple tree? Feel down at your feet. Even though you're lying down, imagine your feet in the earth as this tree. And roots are growing out through the soles of your feet and into the dark, fertile soil beneath you. They move through all those different layers, soil and sand and sediment, until they come to an underground river. Feeling your roots touching that water. As you breathe in, feel energy coming up from this underground river and from the earth, rising up through your roots, up through your feet, through your legs, and into your pelvis. And it keeps rising up the trunk of you now. Just feeling your trunk growing up your body, up your spine, and then up through the crown of your head, your arms, your fingers. Grow your branches up towards the sky, the sun and the moon and the stars. Taking that slow breath in, drinking energy up from your root, feeling it rise up, up, up. As you're exhaling out, those branches grow fuller and longer with leaves, with needles. Take a few more breaths, slow and steady, drinking up from your root, taking that energy through your trunk and up and out your crown, through your branches and your leaves. And scanning and feeling somewhere inside of you now is a place that you've been carrying a feeling or an emotion or a thought that feels heavy, that feels murky, that feels finished, no longer serving you to carry it inside. And this next breath, as you inhale, bringing energy up from the earth, up from that underground river, it's flowing up and finding that spot, that feeling, that emotion. And as you exhale, it's carrying it up through your branches and out through the tips of your branches and leaves until it starts to drip down like rain. Dripping, falling from your leaves back down into the soil, into the earth. Take 3 more breaths, rich and deep, drinking that energy up from earth, up through trunk, finding and touching that place that hurts, that feels heavy or dark. It carries a little bit of that up, up through your branches. And that exhalation out starts to drip out the tips of your branches and leaves and fall softly like rain, dripping down back into the earth. One more cycle of breath. Up from your root, passing through that spot, up through your crown, and out through your branches, and back down into the earth again. And then feeling your physical body again, your human body again, resting here upon the earth, and just noticing any feelings, any emotions, or any sensations that are happening right now. Let's close our practice here so we can all continue to rest if that feels best. You can bring hands over belly and heart. And just take one more deep breath together. On your next breath, inhaling in through your nose for as long as you can, filling up, getting more full. And then at the top, hold the breath, hold it for just a moment. And sigh it out through your mouth. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you continue to rest well and have really beautiful sleep tonight. And I'll see you next time.